G'day Equestrians, it's Taylor and today I'm with my dog Brandy. Kyron is in his paddock eating at the adjustment, so can't be in this video today. But today I thought I would ask you guys on Instagram questions you might want to ask me. And I think I might talk about what actually happened during my accident a couple of months ago. Let's get started. Sorry. Okay, first question. Life story of you and Kyron. So last month, 24th of March, was a year since I first got him, and that year's been pretty crazy. We've done a lot together. We both did our first ever eventing competition. Well, we both had our first ever competition together, which was so special. But when I first got him, he was very green. He had only basic education. He wasn't the greatest horse for riding, but I just fell in love with his personality, and that's why I bought him. He was originally from out west, well, that's what we believe anyway, and we think he did a bit of western, just trail riding on a property, but we're not too sure. Wait, what was I up to? But yeah, we've done so much together in the year I've had him. We found out he really loves cross country, even though he bolts during competition. He loves it so much, and it's just been getting used to how he works and just getting that confidence together and getting a true bond, which has been absolutely amazing. What's your favourite thing about Kyron? Definitely 100% his personality. I've never met a horse so quirky, cheeky and loving at the same time. He's just such a beautiful soul and I love him to bits. What's your favourite thing to do with Kyron? I love doing anything with him. Any time spent with him is a good day. Yeah, we have our bad days, but he always ends up putting a smile on my face anyway. But I genuinely love doing bareback cantering on him. It's just so good. What's Kyron's breed? He was sold to us as a quarter horse, but he doesn't really look like one. We're not sure. He's definitely crossbred, but one of my dad's friends who's quite knowledgeable on horse breeds, he said Kyron is actually crossed with stock horse, Arabian and Welsh pony. So I don't know whether or not to believe it, but I can see that being a possibility. Will you ever sell Kyron? No, I will not. I love him so much, and I'll definitely keep him until he's unrideable. And my parents said once I can't ride him anymore, he can retire just on the little bit of land we have here. So we have an acre and a third, and he can just roam around the house and stuff, and my parents love him so much as well, so we'll never sell him. He'll just retire at home here instead of at an adjustment. Next question, why do you like riding? That's a good question. I've never really thought about it, but I just love it because you feel free, I guess. You feel so good when you're riding, and to have a bond and connection with your horse, doing some dangerous things, it's just such an exhilarating feeling, you know? Yeah. Would you ever consider changing discipline? Yeah, of course. This year I want to try western on Kyron because that's apparently what he used to do, so I'd love to see what he can do there. But I'd love to try roping. Oh, it's just a dream. I do have my own rope at home and I sometimes get it out, but I'd love to try that this year on him. I sound like a boy going through puberty. Yeah, that's it, because I have such inactive followers on Instagram. Whoop whoop. So let's get on to the part about my accident. So just over 3 months ago, I was involved in a freak horse riding accident. I went to Lake Wyber with a few friends for one of my friends' birthdays, and we'd been swimming with the horses for a good 10 minutes before the accident even occurred. Before the accident, we had one canter all together, and so the second time we did it, all the horses just, we don't know if they spooked or got excited, but they all took off towards the bushland. One of my friends was able to control one of her horses, but Kyron and Bing, one of my friend's horses, they took off, started racing each other. We don't know if there was something in the water, but it was so scary. We were trying to pull them up, trying to do emergency stops. We ended up having to cling on for dear life because they weren't slowing down, which was, now that I think about it, pretty scary, but at the time I was just trying to stop Kyron. But I was planning on doing an emergency dismount. I wrapped my arms around Kyron's neck, preparing to jump off in the water, but they were just flying so fast, and during that time it goes so quickly, and Bing and Kyron actually chucked my friend and I off on the shore, and my friend actually got stuck between two trees, and she sounded like she'd be way worse off than I was, but thankfully she was alright, just a sprained ankle. But Kyron had trampled me, and they didn't stop once we were off. They kept going into the bush, and my friend, who could control her horse, went off trying to find them, but they were nowhere to be seen. So my friend, who was dumped like I was, we both just laid on the sand because we were both really winded, but I couldn't get up because I was in so much pain in my rib area, and I was winded for a good 5 minutes. The mums were thankfully with us, 2 of them. My mum wasn't, but they came over straight away to see if we were all right. I wasn't, so one of them called the ambulance and then called my mum. After about 15 to 20 minutes just lying on the sand, not being able to move, the ambulance arrived at where our float was parked, but we were about 500 meters into the bush on a trail, so they had to take all this heavy medical gear and a stretcher to find me. Once they got there, they gave me the green whistle, which actually did nothing to stop the pain. They put me onto the stretcher bed and started stretchering me out of the bush. It took about a good 10-15 minutes, maybe even longer, to get me out and put me in the ambulance. My friend's horse, who was able to be controlled, took my other friend, who was dumped, and the heavy medical gear, which we're so grateful for. Yeah, so I was taken to hospital, checked out, but whilst I was in hospital, the horses were still missing. The search party began with just the mums and a few other friends, and then the whole community where the accident was came together and started searching around the area, which was absolutely amazing. It was over 60 people searching for our beloved boys, which I'm so grateful for. But while I was in hospital, I found out that I had broken 2 of my ribs, and I had a pneumothorax on my lung, which is an air pocket in between my rib and my lung, which they had to monitor because it could have been quite dangerous and they might have had to do surgery on me. But thankfully it did go away, but I was left with a bruised lung. So it's taken 3 months of recovery, and now I'm better and riding again. But thankfully, after 30 hours of searching for the horses, they were found, which was amazing. When I got the call in hospital, I started bursting out in tears, of happy tears, to know that they were safe. But when they were found, they were tangled up in vines. Being my friend's horse was worse. He had 2 swollen back legs. My horse Kyron was completely fine and just looking after Bing because he gets really stressed. But yeah, I think that's all to the story of my accident. But the recovery process has been the hardest thing for me. It's so hard seeing my friends and so many other people competing out there doing what we could have been doing if this accident hadn't occurred and if I hadn't broken my ribs. I knew I'd get better and I'd be better than ever, but it was still hard. I did get really upset at some stages. My mental health wasn't the greatest, but now that I'm better and Kyron is absolutely fine and we're getting back into the swing of things again, I'm doing a lot better. And I just can't thank you all enough on Instagram and everywhere, all my friends and family, for being so supportive of me. I'm truly grateful. It's really meant a lot to me. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and got some insight of how I've dealt with my accident and a little bit more about me in the Q&A. See ya!